Hi, my name is Danielle. What's
Hi, my
yours?
name is Gael.
Okay, do you have a shorter name that you want to go by?
No, Gael is fine.
Okay, great, Gael. How's your day been going today?
Oh, my day has been rough. I am a product of a divorced family. They've been separated for 5 years, but now they're officially going to be divorced. We
Okay.
live in Boston, Massachusetts. We're still living in the same area, but it's still hard because I've grown up with both parents in the house with my two younger siblings, and I've been having drastic changes in schoolwork, my social life, you know, um, things are not really that going well. Like I've stopped eating the way I used to eat.
Hmm.
I've been having thoughts of suicide. Both parents are like too busy up in their feelings. They don't really pay attention to me and my other two siblings, and it's really hard to cope because I don't have anybody else to talk to that will understand what I'm going through.
Hmm.
I have my best friend and my boyfriend, but they don't know how to cope. They don't know how to help with situations like that. So it's really hard on me because I've just been keeping things inside and not really focusing on how to help myself or where to get help. That's why I'm here, because I need to vent. And this divorce has just been, I mean, now that it's finalized, it's taken a big toll on me, because before they were just separated, it wasn't that bad. Each person was happy, we would see one parent and we would see the other, and now it's just that they're divorced and, changing attitude, changing behavior, and it also has been a big effect on me.
Wow. I can only imagine what you're going through, and you mentioned a lot, and we just started, but I just want to let you know how our agency runs as a whole, just before we get into anything deeper. And our agency, we have a very important rule of keeping everything that we discuss here today confidential, meaning it won't be discussed or disclosed to anyone else unless you're okay with it, or it could be a threat to yourself and to others. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
Okay, great. You began saying that your parents had been separated for about 5 years, correct?
5 years, correct.
And now they're divorced. I just want to know, are you an only child, or do you have siblings?
I have siblings. I have a brother who's like a year younger than me. I'm
Okay.
18 years old, a year younger than me, and then we both have a 5-year-old sister.
Okay. Okay. So it's the birth order of your family. It's your father, your mother, your younger brother, and your younger sister.
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay. So can you just tell me like, how has the separation affected you and your siblings up to the divorce?
The separation was a big relief because they were constantly arguing all the time, and it wasn't private. It was always like outburst, loud environment. So it's me, my brother and I, and my little sister always hearing the arguments. My sister's little; she's not, she can't. I don't want her to get used to that environment. So it was always very hard telling her, let's go up to your room, let's go do something else so we can occupy your time. So the separation was a relief. I thought being separated, they can figure out their differences. Meet lunch or dinner, and talk about the things that they need to work on. But it was going on for 5 years, so I was a little confused. I didn't know what happened, but it's definitely, the separation was a big relief for the family, because they were always arguing at times where they shouldn't be arguing. We hadn't had a peaceful dinner since I was like 10, so it was very difficult. But when they got separated, it was kind of a big relief. Like, we would see one parent one weekend, the other parent this weekend, and they were happy. They were genuinely happy with their lives. And then when the divorce came, it's just like it flipped tables. Like, it was just hard for me to acknowledge the fact that my parents are not going to get to be together. Like, even though we grew up in the church that they got married in, and everyone was so happy because they were high school sweethearts, and now it's just like they're apart. Like, they won't even talk to each other and discuss, like, who's gonna get what financially, like who's gonna pay for my college because I'm graduating. Um, so yeah, that's definitely how it's been. Separation was good. It was a big break, but then the divorce being finalized definitely hurt a lot of people.
So you said that your brother, your siblings, and yourself, you guys felt relief when when your parents had split up, and when there was the divorce, everything really just turned tables, I guess. Is that right?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. You mentioned earlier that your family was a part of the church.
Yes.
Okay. And what religion did you guys practice?
Baptist.
Okay.
Baptist.
And what support did you get from the church? And
Um, The church didn't really give us support. That's another reason why we are a little bit like, down and hurting, because the church doesn't believe in getting divorced. They believe in like, working things out, till death do us part, forever and always type of thing. But now the days that we're living in, it's not like that anymore. Like if regardless, like if you're cheating or if things just can't work out, you cannot be in that environment anymore. You have to make the steps to, So they didn't really give us any help. They just, my parents went to the pastor, got counseling a little bit, and for a while it was going okay, but then they just kept arguing and it was just not healthy. So the church, a lot of bickering, a lot of pointing fingers, a lot of talking. So they didn't really help. They just made the situation worse by talking. And I have people youth that I don't talk to at the church coming up to me asking me what's going on, because their parents are talking about my life, my family's life in their home. So it's definitely that's another part of how like very overwhelming it is. Like, and people coming up to my little sister, she's 5. Like, how can you go up to a 5-year-old asking about her mother and father when she barely knows what's going on herself? So that's definitely, the church didn't help. They just made things a little bit worse. That's why my family is struggling the way they are struggling with the divorce.
So you said that you were feeling overwhelmed by how the church reacted or responded to the different things that was going on in your family.
Yes.
Okay. So you mentioned a lot about everything. You mentioned in the beginning, like, it was just drastic. Everything was just very drastic. I guess the whole separation and the whole divorce.
Yes.
Can you describe drastic for me?
Like, it's for years and years, it's like you're living with your, American dream family, like your mother, your father, your siblings, a pet.
Okay.
And like for years, everything's going okay, and then suddenly there's constantly fighting, nonstop fighting. You can barely go a day or a meal without something happening, like some type of fighting happening. So it was definitely different for me, because growing up, my brother and sister, my little brother, when that's a year behind me, we were used to just like this American dream family. I mean, they would argue, but it would be little things, and they would be happy couple, married couple. But then when they had my little sister, it's like things changed. Like she didn't get to grow up in the scenery where it's like the American dream. It's just constant fighting. So it was definitely different from like years and years from being like a good family, and then all of a sudden just like arguing and like bickering and always fighting about something, even if it doesn't need to be fought about. That's definitely what I mean by drastic. Like, it's just automatic change, like abruptly.
So the fact that your sister wasn't able to grow up in the American dream,
yes,
affected you.
Definitely affected me, because she won't get to see what we saw. She has to grow up and live with 2 houses, like being in 2 different houses, the separation of her, her parents and my brother. And I didn't have to do that. We grew up with my mother and my father in the same.
Okay. And with your parents being divorced, who are you going to be living with?
I am going to be living with my father.
Okay.
And because even now when I'm trying to reach out with my mom, she's kind of like losing it, and I don't really, for my senior year, I don't really want to have to deal with that.
Okay.
And I guess it's fair to say that men, deal with things a little differently, different situations. So I want to live with my father for my senior year. I mean, I will still keep in contact with my mom, but I don't want to have to deal with the stress of her, trying to pick little fights with me because she's hurting, or because, things are not going so well in her life. So I definitely will be living with my father.
Okay. So what type of relationship do you and your father have that you will be living with him?
He's a very understanding guy. He doesn't, he doesn't judge. He just lets me know whatever issue I bring to him. He lets me know that, it's up to me at the end of the day, but he's going to tell me what he went through. He's going to tell me the downsides and the upsides of whatever situation. So he's a very understanding person. He doesn't say no with whatever I want to do or with whatever I bring to him. He always just talks to me and understands me. My mother, on the other hand, is very, very overprotective because, she was abused when she was younger. So that's also changed her, like, mentality a little bit. So she's... anything that I want to do or anywhere I want to go, it's she's very overprotective. and stuff like that. And my dad, he cares, but he knows that, I'm growing up. I can't be treated as a 12-year-old for the rest of my life. So I like that, relationship with him than my mom always trying to pick little fights with me or not letting me go places because of the things that she went through.
Oh, okay. And what type of relationship do you have with your brothers and sister?
My little sister, she's like my little daughter. I take care of her. I read her bedtime stories. I give her baths, and we always play around. My little brother, we fight a lot, but that's still like my best friend, like my number one best friend.
Okay. So, I mean, we've covered a lot of ground so far. And from what I'm understanding, it's, with your family, with this divorce, you are going to stay with your father. You're going to live with your father. And you have a relationship with him where he's very understanding and he can see your point of view. Is that, am I getting that right? And But on the other hand, your mom, she's very overprotective because of past experiences that she went through when she was younger. And I guess you guys don't see eye to eye. Am I getting that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And your younger siblings, you're close with your younger sister, you take care of her, you're like that mother figure to her. And your brother, you guys argue, but you guys still remain a family as a whole. Is that correct?
Yes.
And it seems like you said that you're of Baptist faith.
Yeah.
So you go to church and you practice that religion, but there wasn't a lot of support from them because they would ask your younger siblings questions about your parents' marriage and how that really, and that you didn't feel, you weren't okay with that.
Yeah, I
you
wasn't
felt
okay with it.
you felt overwhelmed and stuff like that.
Yes.
And I just, since you're going to be living with your father and you're going to be going into your senior year of high school.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me what school is like for you. What's that like about?
School has gone a lot better since my freshman year. My freshman and sophomore year was a little bit rough. I was very, shy. I didn't really talk to people. A lot of people made fun of me just because I was the new kid, going to a different school.
Mm-hmm.
And then I decided to, open up and join clubs and different clubs, do different sports, and just become known. Just known not as a shy person, but as an interactive person, a person that, is nice, person that's willing to help. So people can know me and know my name and know that I'm not just this shy girl that someone can just pick on.
Mm-hmm.
And I did have self-esteem issues, so that's why I was a little like closed in when I was younger, but it definitely got better. And my senior year, I've been asked to be the captain of the volleyball team, so that's really exciting for me to put on applications for colleges and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, I'm very proud that you're able to find good out of the different things that you're suffering, that you're going through with this divorce. You're able to become the volleyball captain at your school, and you're able to still stay strong and go into your 12th grade year of high school. I think that's really nice. I think that's great. Do you feel like you face any social challenges in your life?
Define social challenges.
I would say like with this divorce going on.
Yes.
There's sometimes with this divorce going on, you go into a state where you're not able to be as outgoing, or your life changed.
Yes.
Some people, their whole entire life changes. They're not the same person as they were before. They withdraw themselves from a lot of different things, and they face a challenge where they don't know how to cope.
Okay.
And how to get back into the game or be back into that mode where they can focus and do well and just still live the life as if there was no divorce.
Okay.
So I guess my question really is, have you seen a behavioral challenge for you, whether it be school or social activities that you've gone throughout this divorce and the separation?
Social, like interacting with different people, no. I'm myself. I guess that's just how I was raised. I'm definitely myself. I can interact with people, put a smile on my face. The problem I do have is when I'm not in the midst of everybody else. I think about a lot of things, and even the people that are close to me, I have a hard time opening up because I hate opening up to people who don't have solutions for me. There's no like they're just listening, and listening is good, but sometimes, when I want someone to listen and give me like, hey, this is what you can do after. And I don't have a lot of that. At least I never tried to open up to people. So it's definitely when I'm alone and I'm not doing anything and I don't know how to cope with it because I can't talk to anybody. And I can't talk to my siblings because I'm the oldest. And I want to be strong for them. I don't want them to see that weak side of me. So I definitely have trouble when I'm just by myself thinking and reminiscing on the good times that my family had, and to know that this is where they are at now. So it is very difficult for me when I'm alone. But when I'm interacting with different people, I think I like to be with different people in big groups and doing things that don't have me focusing on myself, helping me focus on others, because I don't think about myself. I'm more happy that I'm entertaining others or things like that. But it's definitely when I'm by myself, alone.
And has the divorce affected your schoolwork or?
For a while it did, but then I had a talk with my mom and dad and individually, and they just kind of gave me words of wisdom, like things happen in life and life still goes on. So I still have to, I slipped up a little bit, but I started to start doing my homework and studying like I usually study. So my grades and my academics are a lot better. But
Okay. Well, I applaud you again, because you just said that you're really setting your life in front of your brothers and sisters, in front of your brother and sister, because you want them to see the positive in you, knowing that even though through this whole situation, it's not just going to affect them alone, it's also affecting you. But you want them to see that you're strong about it, and I think that's a very that's a strong characteristic that one has to show. And I applaud you for also doing well in school. Even though you had a rough start because of the whole transition phase of your parents' marriage, you still were able to come together and go to school and continue with your grades and keep up with the good work. I had another question. I had a question about your medical health and your medical history and stuff like that. How would you describe your overall health?
I'm not allergic to anything. I'm a very healthy person, but I do believe that I have asthma, and I do suffer from bipolar and depression disorders because my mom suffers from that, and I feel like that has, gone down. I'm not sure if it's possible or not, but I feel like that has been passed down to me because it was in her mother, and she got it, except her mother drowned herself in alcohol, and then she ended up dying. So I feel like that's two things that I have that's an issue with me. And
Okay. And do you feel that it has it gotten worse since the separation and then the divorce, or has it stayed the same?
The separation, it wasn't as bad because my parents still gave me hope. They're like, this is temporary, we're gonna get back together, we love each other and things like that. But then when the divorce was finalized, I definitely started to feel it. But it was never like in public. It was always when I was by myself, and especially by being like the bipolar part. Like when I'm when I'm at school, I'm like happy, I'm excited, and then it's just like when that bell rings and I have to get on the bus or if I have to walk home, that depression kicks in, and my brother is always looking at me like, what's wrong? Like during school you're very excited, and like when it's time to go home, it's like totally changed. Like it's as if you heard bad news that someone died in the family. So yeah, definitely when the divorce was finalized, that made me feel this way.
Okay. And what are ways that you're able to cope with your depression and your bipolar?
Recently, it's definitely music.
Okay.
And writing.
Wonderful.
Because the music, when I listen to the music, they say the words that I can't say or that I'm afraid to say, and I just write, just write poems and just free write, just write everything that I'm feeling that's on my heart, and that's how I get everything down, because I had suicidal thoughts, and I realized that I can't. I can never take my own life. It was just thoughts. I can never take my own life because I have younger siblings, I have to look after them. I wanna set a really high, mark for them, so they can, look after their older sister and say, she did it, she made it, even though we had trials in our life. So I definitely went off the suicidal thoughts and started writing because I felt like that was a better thing to do, a better outcome to definitely do. So writing and just playing sports is definitely, playing volleyball is definitely how I cope with the divorce and things.
Okay. Well, just to clarify and make sure we have everything straight. You said that with your medical history, you suffered from bipolar and depression, and something that you believe that was passed down from your grandmother to your mother and then to you, and because your grandmother had suffered from alcoholism, and you just felt like with this divorce and the separation, it took its toll, and it was at a certain stage during the separation, but then during the divorce, it kind of decreased. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And then you were saying that the ways that you were able to cope with it, or before you even able to cope with it, you felt the depression coming onto you when you were going home from school.
Yes.
Because you have to go back to the life of two divorced parents in one home and the arguing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you had that fear. Well, you didn't have that fear, but you mentioned how your brother would look at you and you didn't want to show him that side of you because you didn't want him to see that side. And I think that I think that you're doing very well of trying to keep that separation as separate as you can, because you don't want him to see something and he's younger than you and you're to be the older example. I think that's very brave of you. Has there ever been any abuse towards you when you were small growing up?
No, definitely not.
Okay. And has any family member in your home been abused?
My mother definitely has been abused. She was with her mother being drinking alcohol all the time. She wasn't stable, and there would always be men coming in and out of the house, and she was slapped around a couple times, and her mother didn't defend her, and that really broke her heart, because not only was she being slapped around, but the person who's supposed to be her superhero, to advocate for her, was always not in the right mindset and wouldn't even pay attention to her daughter, and she was raped several times by just different men coming in and out of the house, because the mom was too much on alcohol, too much on drugs, and she wasn't paying attention to her daughter. So she definitely got hurt. Definitely she got hurt when she was younger. And I think that's why the divorce being so taking a toll on her. But I feel like the issue is she's 35 now, and these things happen over the series of her being 10 up into being a teenager. And she's never dealt with them. So she's had hate and anger against men and against these people, but she's never talked to someone to let them go, to have therapy. And so when she met my dad, it's kind of like she kind of blames him for it, but he's not the one to blame, and he can't take it anymore. They've been married for a very, very long time, and this is his breaking point. And I mean, unfortunately, I feel like my dad should have went with her to a therapy, but they're finding out right now this is the cause of the divorce, because she hasn't dealt with things that hurt her in the past. She still has resentment, and she blames them on my father, even though my father was never there and has nothing to do with it, but because he is a male. But she didn't deal with it when she needed to, and then she's kind of blaming him and kind of still having resentment for the people that hurt her. So this is the issue that I think led to the divorce, definitely.
Okay. And finding out what that issue is that led to the divorce, how did that make you feel?
It definitely makes me feel very I was very hurt when she told me this. I was definitely hurt, but I was more hurt because, my dad loves my mom. They were high school sweethearts. And it just hurt me to know, he gave up in a way. The vows that he said, 17 years ago didn't mean anything, because at the end he still gave up, even though like my mom was going through some things. I feel like during the separation he should have helped her get a therapist and stuff like that, but things didn't work out like that. So it definitely hurt me to know that, someone that was high school sweethearts, he didn't help her get therapy. But unfortunately, I don't think he really knew what went on in her life.
Okay.
So I think that was a big mistake of her. She should have let him know things that happened. Maybe he could have been more understanding, but she kept majority of it in her heart because she felt so ashamed.
Okay.
So that's definitely a part of the divorce and all those things that kind of led up to it.
So from what I understand, you believe that, the divorce of your parents was because of the situation that your mother, experienced as a
Yes.
child growing up with different men coming in the home, and her and your grandmother being involved with other people and stuff like that.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. You mentioned for a while, and I don't want to skip this, but you mentioned for a while how you were having thoughts of suicide, and how you have a best friend and a boyfriend. But I want to talk about the suicide. I want to know, when did those thoughts start to occur?
Definitely. They came back and they left. Like, definitely my sophomore year. Like, I was all about it. I even like started cutting myself a little bit. But then, one of my teachers found out and helped me go to this, this program. And it stopped then and there. And then after that, it was the summer of my junior year. I went to go visit family members, and it was kind of like I was upset because that's not how I wanted to spend my summer, to go to another family member's house. I wanted to stay and, enjoy my friends' company and friendship and stuff like that. And then when I was just there, it was kind of just like in the middle of nowhere, and I didn't have a phone, I didn't have like computer or things like that, so I had to be by myself. And so that's when I really started thinking, and just like this scenery is the perfect scenery for me to just, give my life up and things like that. So definitely started, and then senior year, I stopped feeling that way. I just stopped doing my work and stuff like that. And then I had to talk with my mother and father, and then they basically helped me, see that I have to, keep doing my studies and things like that.
Okay. So you said that the suicidal thoughts started your sophomore year of high school, and it was more of what? Like, what do you think led up to the suicide?
Definitely the separation.
The separation.
Because it was kind of like new to me. I knew what I was. I grew up in a home with my mother and father, and to see them separate was kind of just like, what's going on? Like, why are these things happening to me? Like, why am I being made fun of in school? Why doesn't anybody want to talk to me? Why are my parents, getting separated? So yeah, that's definitely what led to it, because all these series of things were happening, and I'm just like, what am I doing? What do I do?
Okay. And was there anyone that you were able to talk? You said you were able to talk to a therapist during when you were having those suicidal thoughts and you were like cutting yourself?
No, I didn't talk to a therapist. I just went to a group that's called self-harm, and it was just with a whole bunch of other kids, and the other kids, suffered a lot more severely.
And did you think that it helped?
Yeah, it definitely helped, because some kids like on the verge of literally losing their life because of where they were cutting themselves, or they were cutting so deep, or their parents just abandoned them. They sent them to a hospital and like just never even checked up on them again. So that just made me. It was definitely an eye opener.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was there anybody in your personal life that you were able to talk to? Because you mentioned, your best friend and your boyfriend. So.
Yeah, definitely. When I was going through those issues, I talked to my boyfriend and my best friend, and they're one of the main reasons. Both of them are the main reasons why I never, did anything really, really big,
Okay.
because they show me that they really care about me, they really love me, and I didn't want, like, especially it's them and my family, like they love both my family and my best friend and my boyfriend love me, so I didn't want to, like, give up my life, but I couldn't help those thoughts. Those thoughts still went through my mind, but with talking to them every night, and them hanging out with me, telling me how much I'm worth to them, or how much I mean to them, it definitely helped me stop doing anything crazy that I might have regretted.
And what is, well, I know it's obvious that your boyfriend is your boyfriend and your best friend is your best friend, but what is the relationship like? How do you value your relationship with both of them?
I've known my best friend since I was 3 years old, and her mother and my mother have known each other. They grew up in the same, the New York neighborhood, but we all moved to Massachusetts. They all moved to Massachusetts, so I've known her for very little. We grew up together, and that's just been like my best friend ever since. So she's more like a sister to me.
Okay.
Definitely. And I met my boyfriend in middle school, but I wasn't allowed to date in middle school, and like we went to different high schools. So we would still talk and stuff. He was a really good friend of mine. And then my sophomore year ish, when I was like going through trouble, we hung out a lot, and things just happened. And he asked me out, and I said yes. So definitely sophomore year is when we started to go out, because he was helping me through the situations I was going through school and stuff like that.
Okay. And I think that I just want to retouch on everything that we spoke about with the mental health. You told me that you had suicidal thoughts when you were in 10th grade of high school, and you were thinking of cutting yourself, and you actually did it, and then you went to go see a group called Self Harm.
Yes.
In your 12th grade year.
No, my sophomore
Okay.
and junior year.
That was after you spoke to your parents.
Yeah.
Okay, so you spoke to your parents, and then you got to see a group called
Yeah.
Self Harm, and then you were able to, you ceased from the homicidal thoughts.
Yeah.
In 12th grade.
Okay,
going up to 12th grade, and I think that you went through a lot throughout those 2 years, because the divorce really took a toll on you, and you had to keep that to yourself, but you eventually opened up and you told your parents, and I think that was very brave of you to reach out and tell them you need help, and there are things that you're doing that you don't understand or you don't like doing and stuff. And to this present day, as the divorce is taking toll in your life, how would you describe it? Like how it's affecting you?
It's definitely made me a lot stronger than I have ever been in my life. So I look at it as a blessing, because there's some things that some people don't go through things like that. Okay. And they're not as strong as one person can be, and I feel like I've become very strong. I'm ready for whatever the world, or whatever situation, God, or just any situation has to throw at me. It's definitely made me stronger. Definitely an eye opener, and helped me know that in your lifetime there are going to be difficult times, but you still have to do what you have to do, because life still goes on. You can't just sit for days or years and thinking about what's going on. You have to make moves and live your life. Okay. Definitely. So it's not as bad as it was before, but I definitely look at it as a blessing, because it's helped me mature, and it's helped me realize like what is important.
Okay. I see a lot of strength in you, Gaia, and I see that you value a lot of things that are very important to you. And I just want to take time out to illustrate those different things that you see important to you. And how we're going to do that, we're going to do an eco map. Have you ever heard of that? Okay. Well, like I said before, an eco map is a visual illustration where you get to see on paper, the things that are important to you, and you can keep it and then hold it up in your room and just be able to look at it and say, yeah, those things are very important to me, or those things are strong in my life, and those things are poor or weak. So how our eco map starts is we're going to have a circle, and we're going to have you in the middle, and then we're going to have circles around your name.
Okay.
And we can do as many circles as you like, and then we're going to have lines and arrows. And our first line is going to be very bold.
Okay.
And that's going to and that's a strong relationship.
Okay.
A dash line is going to be weak. A spiral line is going to be poor. And we're going to say we're going to have a staggered line. It's going to be somewhat in the middle. It's not too strong, but it's not weak.
Okay.
So in the middle. Okay. So can you just tell me what are some important factors in your life? Maybe people, family, school, activities.
Religion.
Okay, religion. And you said that you're a Baptist, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. And what type of relationship do you feel that you have with your Baptist?
It's definitely weak.
It's weak. Okay.
Yes.
So we're going to have the staggered line. And sorry, the dash line. But one important thing about our lines or this eco map is the arrows, and the arrows show the relationship between you and your religion back to you. So you would say that it's weak because of how your family has been treated, or
yes,
the question.
Definitely.
Okay. And what other important factor do you have in your life?
Family.
And is there anyone in particular who you'd like to talk about?
Definitely father and siblings.
So your father and your siblings. Okay. And what type of relationship would you say?
Strong.
Strong. Okay. So we're gonna have a bold line and arrows to follow. Okay. And do you have any other?
Education.
Education. Okay. And what type of?
That's definitely in the middle.
In the middle. Okay. So we're gonna have a step in line here. And you said you're in 12th grade?
Yes.
And what are your thoughts about college?
Definitely want to go to college. It's in the middle because I've had a rough start, but I'm back on track, and I'm not sure where I want to go to college, but I do know I want to study social work.
Great.
So
Wonderful.
I know what I want to do. I just don't know where I want to spend my 4 years.
Okay. Social work. All right. And what other important factors are in your life?
Friendships.
Friendships. And you want to put down your best friend?
Yes, and my boyfriend.
Okay. Okay. And what type of relationship?
Strong.
Okay. Okay. And are there any more factors?
Definitely my mother.
Your mom? Okay.
She would be poor.
Poor. Okay. And any more factors that you want to discuss?
I think that's it.
That's
Those
it?
are the main factors in my life that are important.
Okay. So let's just review those really. You said that your relationship with your church, being a Baptist, is weak because of how your family has been treated.
Yes.
And your relationship with your father and your siblings is very strong.
Very strong. Yes.
And will your siblings be living with you and your father after?
Yes, there's a court order for all of us to live with our father for 2 years, and if my mother is stabilized and a lot better than she's doing now, then we can send my younger sister. Not sure if my brother would want to go, but we can definitely send my younger sister to live with her.
Okay.
Then.
And you will be definitely staying with your father throughout?
Yeah, depending on where I'm going to college.
Right.
If I stay local, I will live with my father.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. And throughout the course of the 2 years, will your mom be seeing, getting help?
Yes, she's going to a therapist 3 times a week, definitely, and it works with her work schedule. And she is allowed to see us every weekend if she wants to, and take us out. But to live, we can't live with her for the next 2 years.
Okay. So, I think that even though your mother is going through a lot or has been going through a lot, still holding on to what's left of that relationship is important. And you also mentioned that your education is in the middle right now because you're not too sure about where you're going to be going off to school, but you do want to pursue a degree in social work.
Yeah.
And you're in 12th grade, so I commend you on just working so hard and being there. And you mentioned that you have a very strong relationship with your friendship, and that's having your boyfriend and your best friend a part of your life. And I think that you've done well. I think that you're doing great with having those positive people in your life along with your family to just be there behind you 100% of the way throughout this course of your life. And even though you mentioned that you have a poor relationship with your mom, you still maintain something with her because you still want to have that
mother-daughter relationship. Yes.
Okay. I think you've done wonderful, Gael. I think that you really were able to talk about a lot of things that have been affecting your life, and I just want to know, what did you want to gain out of this session?
Definitely to know that just to throw everything out there to a professional, to know, just like, because I have a lot of stuff that's been on my mind that I haven't expressed to anybody, and to know that I have, even though I'm going through these things, it's still a positive because I'm a lot stronger than I was before, and I have goals to set in my life. Just to say out loud that I have a goal, just not in my mind, but to tell someone, so next time I do come see you, or if I do come see you, you can hold me accountable for the things that I've said, like being captain of the volleyball team, wanting to go to college, So definitely to know that I let someone know what my goals are, so they could hold me accountable.
And just to let us be specific, because it looks like you created your own goal. You would say your goals will be becoming the captain of the volleyball team.
Yeah, being successful. Yes.
And going to college,
and just being the best friend, girlfriend, and sister I can be. Definitely the goals that God has placed on my life, to just do them the best of my ability.
Okay. And I think that you formed wonderful goals, great goals, even though you're going through so much, wanting to, do well and be successful in your sports as a leader, and being that wonderful role model to your younger siblings, and showing them the support and the love that they need at this crucial time, and being the best, significant other to your relationships. And I think that is beautiful goals that you formed. And I just wanted to know, just before we start closing, because time is running out on us, what do you have to say to children or to other people who are a product of divorced parents?
Definitely when the situation's happening, whether it be whatever it is, to go see someone as soon as possible, before suicidal thoughts happen, before you self-harm, before you just go crazy and stop doing well in school, because other people are different from me. If they want to commit suicide, they might actually do it, and to prevent that, definitely see someone as soon as possible and write, and definitely, when you see something, just talk to someone at all times, what you're feeling. Do not keep things inside, because it hurts you. And to just, surround yourself with happy people, happy thoughts, and definitely be, interactive in school activities and church activities also. That's definitely what it should be.
Well, time is running out on us, but Gael, I want to thank you so much for meeting with me today and just talking to me and just being able to vent to a professional, like you said, about the different things that are going through your life. And we spoke about a lot today, but I just want to summarize some of the things that we talked about that are very important to you. Just being a positive role model to your brothers and sisters, and being the best significant other that you can be to your relationships with your boyfriend and your best friend, and being successful in volleyball, those 3 goals that you have. And you spoke about the effect of your parents with their divorce, and how you believe that the history and what led to divorce was because of your mom's past, and how you still want to maintain a relationship with your mom, and how even though the church was not for you, or helping you as best as they could. When you had those suicidal thoughts, you were able to see a group called Self Harm
Yeah.
that was able to help you get out of that and allow you to move on and do well in school. And I wish you the very best in high school. And I hope that, you know, when we meet again, that you can tell me how you were able to fulfill those goals and achieve them. And I wish you the very best. I also thank you for coming, and I just want to remind you that everything that we have discussed here today, it will not be disclosed to anyone unless it is a threat to yourself or to others. But I hope that you're able to find out, you know, where you're going to go after school and be able to continue with your studies and do well and succeed in all your endeavors, especially with social work, because I know that's a tough career, but I wish you all the best. And I thank you for coming again.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.